The Gambino crime family, a name that would become synonymous with organized crime in America. Their influence and power were felt far and wide, making them one of the most notorious criminal organizations in history. They were one of the five families that dominated New York City's underworld for decades, shaping the very fabric of the city's criminal landscape. Their story begins in the early 20th century, a time when New York was a bustling metropolis filled with opportunity and danger. This was a time of prohibition and widespread corruption, where the illegal alcohol trade created a lucrative market for those willing to take risks. It was the perfect breeding ground for ambitious criminals who saw the potential to build empires from the shadows. Among these ambitious individuals were Salvatore Toto d'Aquila and his loyal lieutenant, Umberto Albert Anastasia. Together they would lay the foundation for what would become the Gambino crime family. They formed a powerful gang in East Harlem and Brooklyn, areas that were ripe for the taking by those with the cunning and ruthlessness to seize control. They were known for their ruthlessness and their willingness to use violence to achieve their goals. Their reputation for brutality quickly spread, instilling fear in both rivals and the public. Their reputation grew and their influence spread throughout the city. They became a force to be reckoned with, their power extending into various illegal enterprises. However, the world of organized crime is a treacherous one. Alliances shifted, rivalries turned deadly, trust was a rare commodity, and betrayal was always a possibility. D'Aquila met his end in 1928, a victim of the very violence he had helped to perpetuate. He was gunned down on a street corner, a stark reminder of the perilous nature of the life he had chosen. This left Anastasia in control of the burgeoning criminal enterprise. Under his leadership, the organization would continue to grow and evolve. The stage was set for the rise of one of the most powerful mafia families in history. The Gambino crime family would go on to become a dominant force in the criminal underworld, their legacy enduring for generations. As the years passed, the family expanded its operations, delving into various illegal activities such as gambling, loan sharking, and drug trafficking. The post-World War II era saw the Gambino family solidify its power, with key figures emerging to lead the organization into new heights of criminal enterprise. Carlo Gambino, a shrewd and calculating leader, would eventually take the reins, steering the family through some of its most prosperous and tumultuous times. Under Carlo's leadership, the family thrived, becoming one of the most powerful and influential mafia families in the United States. The Gambino family's reach extended far beyond New York, with connections and operations spanning across the country and even internationally. Despite numerous attempts by law enforcement to dismantle the organization, the Gambino family proved to be resilient, adapting to changing times and continuing their illicit activities. The rise of John Gotti in the 1980s brought a new era of visibility and notoriety to the family, as Gotti's flamboyant style and public persona captured the media's attention. The 1990s and early 2000s saw the family face significant challenges, including increased law enforcement pressure and internal strife. Yet the legacy of the Gambino crime family endures, a testament to their enduring influence and the indelible mark they have left on the history of organized crime. From their humble beginnings in the early 20th century to their rise as a criminal dynasty, the story of the Gambino family is one of ambition, power, and survival in the shadowy world of organized crime. With Anastasia at the helm, the family, then known as the D'Aquila family, tightened its grip on its territory. The streets of New York City in the 1920s were a battleground for power and control, and Anastasia was determined to come out on top. Anastasia was a shrewd operator. He had a keen sense for business and an even sharper instinct for survival. His ability to navigate the treacherous waters of organized crime set him apart from his contemporaries. He understood the importance of alliances. In the world of organized crime, no one could survive alone. Anastasia knew that forging strong connections with other powerful mafia families was essential for his survival and success. He forged strong connections with other powerful mafia families. These alliances were not just about mutual benefit. They were about creating a network of trust and loyalty that could withstand the pressures of law enforcement and rival gangs. This helped to solidify his power and expand his influence. As New York City grew and changed, so did the reach of Anastasia's criminal empire. His influence extended beyond the streets and into the very fabric of the city's development. The family's criminal operations flourished. They were involved in a wide range of illegal activities. These included gambling, loan sharking, and extortion. Each of these ventures brought in significant revenue and further entrenched the family's power. They were involved in a wide range of illegal activities. These included gambling, loan sharking, and extortion. The gambling operations were particularly lucrative, drawing in high rollers and desperate individuals alike. They also had a significant presence in the construction industry and the garment center. These legitimate businesses provided a front for their illegal activities and allowed them to launder money with ease. Anastasia ruled with an iron fist. His leadership style was uncompromising, and he demanded absolute loyalty from his men. Any sign of disloyalty was met with swift and brutal punishment. He was a ruthless leader. His reputation for violence and intimidation was well known, and it kept his subordinates in line. Fear was a powerful tool in maintaining control. He demanded absolute loyalty from his men. This loyalty was not just expected, it was enforced. Anastasia's men knew that their lives depended on their unwavering allegiance to him. He was quick to punish anyone who dared to cross him. Betrayal was met with immediate and often deadly consequences. This created an atmosphere of fear and obedience within the organization. His reign was marked by violence and intimidation. The streets of New York were often stained with the blood of those who opposed him. Anastasia's legacy was one of power, fear, and unrelenting control. However, Anastasia's time at the top was not to last. His reign, though powerful, was marked by violence and instability. The underworld was a volatile place, and power could shift in the blink of an eye. In 1957, he met a violent end. The streets of New York were no stranger to bloodshed, but this event was particularly shocking. He was gunned down in a barber's chair at the Park Sheraton Hotel in Manhattan. The hit was carried out with precision, a testament to the ruthless efficiency of his enemies. The assassination sent shockwaves through the underworld. Headlines blared the news, and the public was both horrified and fascinated by the audacity of the crime. It paved the way for Carlo Gambino to take control of the family. Gambino, who had been waiting in the wings, seized the opportunity with both hands. Carlo Gambino was a different breed of mob boss. Unlike his predecessors, he was not one to seek the limelight. He was known for his cunning and his ability to avoid the spotlight. His intelligence and strategic mind set him apart from the more flamboyant figures of the time. He preferred to operate from the shadows. This approach allowed him to maneuver without drawing unnecessary attention. He understood that discretion was often more profitable than brute force. Gambino's methods were subtle but effective, ensuring that his operations ran smoothly. Under Gambino's leadership, the family entered a new era of prosperity. He expanded their influence and diversified their criminal enterprises. He streamlined their criminal operations. By focusing on efficiency, he was able to maximize their profits. He focused on maximizing profits and minimizing risk. This business-minded approach set him apart from other mob bosses who relied heavily on violence. He also established a strict code of conduct for his men. Loyalty and discipline were paramount in Gambino's organization. He demanded discipline and discretion. His men knew that any deviation from his rules would be met with severe consequences. He understood that attracting unwanted attention from law enforcement could be detrimental to business. Gambino's ability to keep a low profile helped him evade the authorities for many years. Despite his efforts, law enforcement was always on his trail. The FBI and local police were constantly trying to infiltrate his operations. Gambino's meetings were held in secret, often in the dead of night. He trusted only a select few with the most sensitive information. His family was his strength, and he relied on them to maintain his grip on power. The loyalty within the Gambino family was unbreakable. Family events were not just social gatherings, they were strategic meetings where alliances were forged and plans were made. The city of New York was both a playground and a battlefield for Gambino. He navigated its streets with the precision of a general. Even in death, the influence of Carlo Gambino was felt. His funeral was a testament to his power, attended by both allies and enemies. The legacy of Carlo Gambino is one of cunning, strategy, and ruthless efficiency. His name remains synonymous with the golden age of organized crime. His story is a reminder of the dark underbelly of the American dream, where power and wealth often come at a great cost. Carlo Gambino's ruthless grip on the underworld is a chapter in history that will never be forgotten. Not everyone was content with Gambino's low-key approach. Crazy Joe Gallo, a volatile and ambitious captain in the Gambino family, craved power. He chafed under Gambino's control. He saw Gambino's rise as an opportunity to seize control. In 1957, Gallo made his move. He orchestrated the assassination of Albert Anastasia. This was a brazen power grab. It ignited a bloody internal war within the Gambino family. Gallo's rebellion was short-lived. He was eventually imprisoned for racketeering. However, his brief but violent campaign left its mark on the Gambino family. It served as a reminder that even the most powerful criminal organizations were vulnerable to internal strife.